Hello and welcome back, my fairies! I'm Motsurific, and I'm joined once again by my good friend Dem.
Hello, people.
And we are back with the Pokemon Day Pokemon Presents pre-stream. It is Monday night, and we are, gosh, how many hours? 14 hours away from the Pokemon Presents for Pokemon Day. So I decided that we should go ahead and instead of doing a normal stream on Monday, we could do a discussion stream. And I have extra eggs here that I completely forgot that. Well, actually, no, I didn't forget that I had that Rowlet egg, but I went ahead and made a whole bunch of Gothita eggs. So I figured we could do some shiny hunting too, do something light. And eggs are light, so. Quick shoutouts. Hello, Balaz Edits. Hello, Kevin. Hello, Thad. Hello, Meg. Hello, Irinixie. Hello, Best Bud GP, or Beast Bud GP. I believe you're new. Hello, Strings. Hello, everybody, and welcome. If I missed your name, please let me know. I do apologize. But, yeah, we are here today to discuss thoughts, theories, and opinions on what we might get tomorrow and how we would feel about it. So, I've got a poll going right now. If you haven't already voted in that, feel free to go ahead and do that. It looks like we are the poll is asking what you're expecting what you would like to see most for Pokemon Day tomorrow. Doesn't have to be what you think is most likely, just what you want to see. I did leave off Generation 10 though, just because I feel like Johto or Unova games are more likely, and those are more what the fandom seems to want right now. I personally don't even want Gen 10 to come out this year, because that would be 2 years after Gen 9. The game's already struggle enough as it is. Let the programmers program. Like, bro, please give us back Colosseum. Yes. Yes, please. I don't think we're gonna get a port for Colosseum or Gale of Darkness, but I would absolutely love it if we could get remakes for Colosseum and Gale of Darkness. I actually have a list of stuff that I've put together that I would love to talk about tonight. And Colosseum and Gale of Darkness are on that list as well. I think that's all of our eggs right now. Yes, let's go ahead and swap our eggs out. Alright. Yeah, these Rowlets are kind of left over. I'm just going to go ahead and release these guys. I guess so. Yeah, I'll do that to in-home. There we go, that works. Alright, new set of eggs. Oh yeah, Gale of Darkness and Colosseum, absolutely. Absolutely love that. Hello, Sun Alex, welcome. Yeah, because I would love to see some remakes of those games. And I believe there was I forget if it was a rumor or a leak that no, I think it was a leak that Game Freak was planning to do something with the company that made those games. Because I remember, I forget which YouTuber it was, but another YouTuber was making a video about it. And they commented that they thought that that company had gone under, because I'm pretty sure that they did go under. the company that originally made the Colosseum and Gale of Darkness games, because those were not made by Game Freak. Those were made by a completely different company and they were honestly, from what I heard, that company was actually nervous about making a Pokemon game, because, you know, they'd obviously never made a Pokemon game before. That was Generation 3. That was in the Hoenn Hoenn era. Which is also why they were based in America. It's like, Unova was actually not the first American-based game. That was actually Colosseum and Gale of Darkness. Yeah. And I know that there are some people who are thinking that we might get Generation 10 this year, but, like, we're not getting Gen 10. And honestly, we shouldn't want Gen 10 this year. Yes, people are getting a bit tired of Scarlet and Violet, myself and them included. But, like, let's not rush them. They're already rushed as it is. Generation 10 will most likely be out next year. Yeah, no Gen 10. Which is why I didn't put it on the poll, either. Like, I don't think Gen 9 was necessarily bad, it's just that they're a buggy mess. Yeah. Chat seems to be agreeing that we're not getting Gen 10 this year. But there are rumors that we might be getting 2 mainstream Pokemon games this year. I think it was Porio that or no, Pyro that yeah, his name was Pyro. Pyro is another known leaker in the Pokemon franchise, and I believe it was them who said that we should be getting 2 mainline games this year. And I think that does also fit with the Riddler Coup leak, because Riddler Coup posted an image that was an 8, but it looked like it was from a digital clock, and there were 2 dots in it. And a lot of people are thinking, well, you can make a 2 and an 8 out of that. So possible hints towards Johto and Unova games, because those were generations 2 and 8, or 2 and 5. Which would also be interesting, especially when you consider the fact. Oh, you know what? Oh my gosh! I think I just figured out the recent update to that leak, because Riddler Coup originally posted that leak, but then after, like, just recently, like just the other day, he posted another version of it where the middle 3 dashes are highlighted. They're not really highlighted, but they're darker than the rest of it. And it literally just occurred to me that could be another hint towards its being Gen 2 and 5. Because if you look at a digital clock and you look at how it reads a 2, it's the top bracket, the bracket on the right, the middle bracket, the bottom, top bracket, and then top bracket on the right, middle bracket, bottom bracket on the left, and then the bottom bracket. That's how a digital clock reads 2. And then 5 is literally a 2 that is flipped around. I think I figured that out. That would explain why the straight back brackets are darker, because it's basically a 2 and a 5 overlapped. Guys, I think I figured that out. Oh my goodness. But the reason I brought up that leak in the first place is because aside from the digital 8 being there were also 2 dots. So those 2 dots very well could be hinting towards us getting 2 main series games this year. Which I think might actually be changed. You're getting dizzy? Well, look away! Oh, actually, I think it's actually done. Yeah, we're not hatching any eggs right now, so let's go ahead and put these guys away. Oh, a girl relic. Alright. But yeah, that has me thinking, cause like, I have two theories about how we're going to be getting the games, if we do get two main series games this year. Because if we look back at when the Sinnoh games came out, both Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl and Legends Arceus, we got those games a few months apart. My theory is that we might be getting a similar schedule to those games, whereas when we got those games, we got BDSP in November, and then a few months later, we got Legends Arceus in January. Also, I don't know what's going on with my camera there. That's odd. You just got a blue light glasses for online school? Your eyes are adjusting to it? Well, hope those glasses help you. Yeah, you're fine. I know. It's partially because of the way that I'm doing this. I've got it set up so I'm using a hair tie to basically hold the joysticks in place so that I don't have to break my thumbs for this hunt. So yeah, my initial theory is that we could be getting a setup like that. So like, I was thinking that because this year is the 25th anniversary of the Johto games, and I think next year is the 15th anniversary of the Unova games. That was my theory, was that we would be getting Johto games this year in November, and then in January we get Generation 5 games for that anniversary. Gens 2 and 5 remakes in 1 year? Yeah, that is very possible. You don't want a Let's Go game? I would be okay with the Let's Go game if they changed the catching mechanic to be more like that of Legends Arceus, where you don't have to throw the Joy-Con, you just press the A button, but let us throw the ball in the overworld like you can in Legends Arceus. "3DS remakes and that's good enough for you?" As much as I would really love to get Kalos remakes, it's just not happening. I'm not holding my hopes up for Kalos remakes. I love Kalos. Kalos is my favorite region. And I say this as someone who grew up on Generation 1. But we're not getting Kalos this year. They're gonna give us Unova before they give us Kalos again. So, I will say this though. I do think that if we get Black and White remakes this year, that they might be changing up how they do the... Sorry for the confusion, you meant 3DS? Oh, you mean like a new 3DS system? I don't know. But I do think that we are going to be getting... if we get Unova remakes, either this year or at the start of next year, I do think that that might be a sign that we could be getting remakes every generation from now on. Which would make sense. Up until now, not counting the Gen 1 remakes that were in Generation 3, remakes have always been one remake per every other generation in the even number to generations. Which, you know, gave time for them to be able to make other games and stuff. But it's gotten to the point where we're waiting 15 years for a remake versus the Generation 1 games and Generation 2 remakes. Like, the Kanto and Johto remakes, there was nowhere nearly as much of a gap between them. So I think it might be possible for them to start doing the traditional remakes every generation instead of every other generation, just so that they don't end up with a 30-year gap between some games. So this could be a change in the traditional timeline for that. You just want that no let's go baloney? Oh, no, like 3D animated games of Johto. Oh, you mean like similar to how Scarlet and Violet are, and not like how BDSP was? Because like Let's Go are technically 3D games because they're 3D models, but it's still on a grid, unlike a game like this where it's not on a grid. Is that what you mean? Yeah, that's what you meant. Okay. Honestly, my ideal Pokemon game would be a fusion of Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. Oh, you're right. I think we are full on. Yep, we're good. Okay, thank you, Meg, for reminding me. My ideal Pokemon game would be a fusion of Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, Sword and Shield, Legends Arceus, and Scarlet and Violet. So, like, I would love to see a game that has features from all three of those games. Let's get back in the center. I just flicked the hair tie. My ideal game would be a game that's a blend of all the best features from all three of those games. So, I would love to have a mechanic similar to what Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee had, where where the shiny hunting method is you catch a certain amount, and then that increases your odds of finding a shiny with heightened odds of finding that shiny. I really liked that method. The catching mechanic was not nice, but the way they implemented the shiny hunting mechanic I thought was really good. I also really liked how there were multiple ways in game for you to regularly get money. Because in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, there was a feature where you could talk to a woman outside of the Pewter Museum, and she would ask you to babysit her Slowpoke, and in return, you get this quick 10-second cutscene, and then she comes back and gives you a nugget. And you could use that to replenish your money without having to battle or anything. It was a great way of keeping up on your money, especially early on in the game, so you didn't run out of Pokeballs. And then for Sword and Shield, I much prefer that they keep the routes and towns separate. I know a lot of people don't like loading screens, but those loading screens were really not that bad. And by having all the routes and towns be completely separate, and really there weren't even a lot of loading screens in those games. Like, there were a couple of towns that had loading screens, but for the majority it was completely loading screen free. But I liked that they kept the routes separate from each other, because that helps with lag. That's a big problem with Scarlet and Violet, is that it's open world, and the Switch is just not it's just not built to handle something like this, with it being open world and having everything just there. I would much rather have the separated routes. But I also really like Legends Arceus. So, Oh yeah, another thing I would bring back from Sword and Shield is that in Sword and Shield there is a method of shiny hunting the legendaries. I'm not saying they have to bring back Dynamax Adventures, but please, for the love of Shiny Lord Giratina, let us shiny hunt the legendary Pokemon. I don't care if it's a reset hunt method, like in BDSP, or in the older Pokemon games. My ideal would be that they bring back a similar method from Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, where you could actually, you hop on Latios or Latios, and then you go to all these different islands, and there are legendaries there, inside of Hoopa's rings. And then you can go inside and encounter a legendary inside, and you can keep resetting until it's shiny. But you had access to almost every... Actually, no, yeah, you had access to every single legendary Pokemon that existed at the time through that method. And I would love for them to bring that back. Welcome back, Thad. And then from Pokemon Legends yes, the Mirage Spots, yes. And then from Pokemon Legends Arceus, I think we all know what should be coming back from Legends Arceus. Give us back the ability to catch Pokemon in the overworld without having to battle them. And for the love of all things shiny, please give us overworld sparkle and shiny effects. It can either be the effects from Legends Arceus, where you get the audible effect regardless of whether you're looking at it or not, and then once you look at it, you see the sparkles. Or it could even be what they did in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, where if it's shiny, then you actually see sparkles above their head, and those sparkles will stay there as long as it's on the screen. And in a perfect world, you'd be able to turn those off. Like, have a toggle in the system setting, or not the system settings, but like in your game settings to be able to turn that off so that people who want the added challenge of having to actually squint their eyes and look for it manually, they can have that challenge. But it's also an accessibility issue. It's not just an ease of access issue, but it's also an accessibility issue for people who are colorblind. And there are so many different versions of color blindness. So just because one person who is colorblind is able to see the shinies doesn't mean someone else would be able to. Because it comes in so many different forms. Yeah, but it's also helpful for Pokemon that you really can't tell if they're shiny, like Gothita, which once these Rowlet eggs finish hatching, we're going to be hatching a bunch of Gothita eggs. Also Water Break.
Water Break.
But please, 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 let us have this. Please make shiny hunting easier on the people who have a hard time seeing them or want a shiny that is impossible to tell. Like Garchomp or Gengar. Those are so hard to tell. Just let us hunt those and make it, let us make it as easy as we want it to be. But that would be my ideal Pokemon game, is to bring back those specific features from the various games that we've had. Speaking of bringing back features, I did do a poll I've done a couple of polls asking about what features we want to come back. Well, this Peachy you're struggling to see right now? Exactly, Nixie. Exactly, it's so hard to see. Yeah, I actually did a few polls recently. And speaking of shiny hunting, one of those polls that I did was asking what shiny hunting method we'd like to have come back. And I based the poll off of the last 4 methods that we had. So the options were mass outbreaks, which we got in Legends Arceus and Scarlet and Violet. The Adrenaline Orb, where a Pokemon can call for help, and then its friend that comes in has a possibility of being shiny. DexNav, where you can select a Pokemon that appears on that route, and then try to chain that Pokemon. And then as your chain continues, you get more and more of a chance for it to be shiny. Or Horde Encounters, where you can come across 5 at once, and there's a possibility that there's a shiny in that horde. And I guess I shouldn't be surprised that mass outbreaks were at the top of the poll. I really loved all of these, to be honest. You can't, this is hurting your eyes. Doing eggs eventually. Yeah, that's why I'm doing eggs for Gothita. We're still getting through... Speaking of, I think these eggs are done. We're still getting through these Rowlet eggs that I had before. So I made these eggs before the before we knew about the DLC, about the Indigo Disc DLC, and that we'd be able to shiny hunt starters. But I still wanted to hatch these eggs just in case. Yeah, and I will say that even though I love all these features, I do think it is going to be dependent on how exactly they do encounters in the next game. 'Cause if it's an open world game like this, or semi-open world like Legends Arceus, where you can see the Pokemon in the overworld, and they're either shiny or not shiny, then it's probably less likely that we would get anything other than mass outbreaks. But if they make it more like Sword and Shield, where you can still see them in the overworld, but you can't tell if they're shiny until you encounter them, then I feel like the other options would probably be best. It might not be DexNav, but if it is a situation like that, then I would honestly be so happy if they brought back either the Adrenaline Orb or Horde Encounters, because that would make shiny hunting in those so much easier if you can't tell if they're shiny or not from the overworld. Hopefully they don't do that, though. And I guess this would be more of a Gen 10 thing than a remake. But if it is a remake, then I would definitely love to see something like DexNav. Well, any of those, honestly. DexNav, Adrenaline Orb, or Horde Encounters. I would love to see one of those 3 return in a remake. So that would make shiny hunting so much easier if you're hunting in the grass. Oh, and let's also take a water break, since Stream Elements is mentioning Dubby.
Water break.
Speaking of, we are sponsored. I really like Dubby, and that link that was just posted in chat by Stream Elements will take you to my favorite flavor. I have some new flavors coming in, hopefully soon, that I am looking forward to trying. But I am a picky eater, so even if I don't end up liking those flavors, you guys might like the other. Well, I might like the other ones. I'm just extremely picky. I do have an eating disorder. What's W? W is an energy drink. There's no sugar in it, and it actually has some pretty good vitamins as well. My dad was looking into it because he decided to order some for himself, and he noticed it had a lot of vitamin D. Or not vitamin D, vitamin B, which is good for one of his medical conditions because he has to keep up, he has to intake a lot of vitamin B. So it's actually really good for you. So a good amount of vitamins, no sugar, no fats. And it's also really hydrating as well. But I really like the mango orange. If you've ever had a dreamsicle, it is so good. Tastes just like a dreamsicle. Highly recommend. But there's also other flavors as well that you are absolutely free to check out. If you use code MATSU at checkout, then you can get 10% off your order as well. Anyways, back to Pokemon. So, I want to talk about the likelihood of the different games that we're going to be getting and what could possibly be included in these games. So, I want to go over what's in the poll first. So, Let's Go Johto, I will say is less likely, but I still wouldn't be surprised if we got some sort of reimagining, because Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee were not traditional remakes in the sense that Fire Red Leaf Green were. They were more reimaginings, where it's like, okay, well, here's an alternate universe that's not tied to anything else. Because it wasn't red and blue, but rather completely different characters, and I forget their canon names. We need to get back in the center. There we go. But Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee were not traditional remakes, they were reimaginings. So that is honestly what I was expecting. Because that is another possibility that we could be getting this year if we are getting 2 games. But if Game Freak wants to keep Unova games for next year, but still release 2 main series games this year in 2024, as in actually release this year and not having one this year and one in January, which is technically 2025. I think that is a possibility that we could be getting a Johto reimagined game and then a Johto Legends game. So, like I said, it doesn't have to be a Let's Go Johto game. I did really like the Let's Go games, but I also understand why a lot of people don't like them, because the catching mechanic was awful. And I'm also frustrated with the catching mechanic. That's the one thing I didn't like about the games. And also, character customization was very minimal. But character customization has been minimal for a while. There was no customization at all in Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. And then BDSP, even though it did have somewhat customization to it, where you could pick what your character looks like and you can change their clothes, it was still predetermined outfits that came with their own hairstyles. So it wasn't like in most mainline games where you can get one of the 4 base skin tones, but then you can change your hair color to whatever you want. You can wear whatever clothes you want. And I would love for them to bring, like, full customization back into a remake. And not just have you pick from 4 different options and then have a couple of styled looks. I mean, I'll still take that over no customization at all, but Maybe a way to change the color and more options? Yes. And, like, let us just create our own looks. Why do the trainers need to be a hot girl? Never... I mean... If you're referring to, like, the player characters are children, so... I'm not sure what you're trying to say there. If you're talking about everyone being skinny... Like, Pokemon does have... Pokemon does do different body types, but you aren't completely wrong. Oh, hot boy? Again, hello Goomba, welcome. Yeah, I'm not one to say much about that because, you know, I don't think about the player characters that way. Because again, they are children. You died too fast, too sorry. It's no worry. But yeah, I do think it's very possible that we could be getting a Johto reimagining. Again, it doesn't have to be a Let's Go game. It could be something completely new that we can't even predict. Oh, you meant a boy or girl, not hot at all. Oh, okay, I get it now. I would honestly love it if they could give us a non-binary option. Now, Japan is not... Admittedly, Japan is not as progressive as other countries are in terms of LGBTQ plus representation. But it would be nice if they could make it so that you're like, oh, are you a boy or a girl? And maybe even have an option of prefer not to answer. Or even just neither. So that the game gives you they, them pronouns. That would actually be really cool if they did that. And then it's like, okay, what do you look like? And then it gives you the options of what you want to look like. But still give you both the masculine and feminine frames. I do really like how how a lot of games nowadays are making options available for both boys and girls, regardless of whether it's a feminine or masculine style. Agree with me on that one? Yeah, I would love for them to add a non-binary option. And again, they could still have have the two models that are masculine and feminine, but they could still allow you to pick your gender. So, like, you could say, I'm a boy, and pick the female model. And the game still gives you male and female pronouns. I think that'd be really cool if they did that. I do feel that we are a long ways away from getting that. Just because of, you know, how slowly Japan is in terms of progress like that. But we did actually get something. I think we're out of eggs. This is probably a good time to go look at that. We actually did get something in these games, which could actually be a hint of Game Freak possibly considering that. Let me show you guys what I mean. So if we go to Masui Town, just like Naoto from Persona, yeah, like Naoto is a girl. She identifies as female. She is cis, but she still prefers to dress masculine. That's how she's most comfortable presenting herself. Oh, there's some Snivy eggs in here. Okay. But anyways, let's come in here. So, this is what I want to show you. So, there was no need whatsoever for Game Freak to add bathrooms in this game. But they did. So if you look at the bathrooms, we have the boys' restroom, the girls' restroom, and then this restroom can be used by anyone. So they actually included a gender-neutral bathroom, which actually could be a hint towards us potentially getting a non-binary option. Now, it's still possible that they could just be considering it, and they might not decide to add a non-binary option. But just having this alone, I honestly love that we have this. I love that Game Freak decided to go ahead and add this gender-neutral bathroom. They did not have to add this, but they did. And they made the extra effort not to just make a boys and girls bathroom, but also an everybody bathroom. You do like that addition? They're being thoughtful at least. Yeah. So that very well could be a hint towards them at least considering adding a gender-neutral option. Also, I love this little Chimecho decoration here, even though... or no, it's Qingling. Even though you can't... I don't think you can get Qingling or Chimecho in Kitakami. Also, I don't think our eggs are hatching in here. I don't think we can hatch eggs in here. So that could actually be a possible hint towards that. Like, I don't know if we're actually getting it, but that is definitely a possibility. And yeah, I would absolutely love that. I would still play as a cis girl myself, but that's just because I am a cis girl. I am a cis woman. So I would, you know, want to play as a representation of myself. Your brain went to ching-ling-ling! Ching-ling-ling! Yeah, that is definitely a possibility, though. I'm glad I remembered that. I'm glad you mentioned it. Maybe we'll get that for Generation 10. Who knows? I can't see them adding something like that for a remake or a spin-off. Just because that does seem like something that you would add to a new game. Also, water break. So if we don't get that in whatever game we get this year, then it's still a possibility that we could end up getting it, but we'll just have to see. Want to hear what you're doing? Sure, Guma, what are you doing? Alright, but anyways, oh yeah. Anyways, back to the new games. So, we talked about potentially getting a Johto reimagining, whether it's a Let's Go game or something completely new. Hot take, add voice lines. That is a good feature to talk about, because I can pretty much guarantee you that we are not going to get voice lines. And the reason I think that is because, for one thing, Pokemon is in, what, 14 languages now? And there's rumors that we might even be getting more languages soon for upcoming games. But if they were to do voice lines, the way that the Pokemon games are, where you can pick what language you play the game in, that would mean that every single version of the game would have to come with 14 different sets of voice lines for every bit of dialogue that would be voiced. That is a lot of data. And then on top of that, you have the fact that there are over 1,000 Pokemon. Granted, you usually only get like 600 Pokemon in a specific game, but you would still have to have different versions of that Pokemon's cry for multiple different versions of the game, because Pokemon have different names in different languages. So, like, for example, Charizard is not called Charizard in Japan. It's called Lizardon. So, And I'm pretty sure there are other languages where it has different names as well. So...
Glurak in Germany, for example.
What's it called in German?
Glurak.
Glurak?
Yep.
So yeah, that's three different sets of voice lines for Charizard right there. Said voice acting in the games would have to be like Masters. I've never played Masters. I do know that Masters does have different voice lines, but Masters is also based on, like, the language you play Masters in is based on where you are and where your phone is from. So if you are in Japan and have a phone that came from Japan, then you're going to be playing Masters in Japanese. If you're in America and your phone is an American phone, you're playing Masters in American. So they can have those voice lines there because it's going to be one set of voice lines per game. Now they could decide to add Japanese audio for every game if you wanted to have Japanese audio. I don't know if there's a setting for that or not. Mostly small reused voice clips and that's it? Yeah. Kind of like how when we play Persona 4, when we do our social links, there are sometimes moments where... Why am I going so slow? That's weird. Anyways, but yeah, there are moments in Persona 4 Golden in the social links where you can hear a small voice clip. But those games also only come with 2 audio tracks, Japanese and English. And that's why they can have multiple voice lines in those games, because it's just the 2 languages. Hello, Blaz, welcome back. Now you can change the text to be whatever language you're playing the game in, but the audio is either going to be in Japanese or English. Plus, they also have to pay all the voice actors, too, for all those languages, too. And the reason it works for Persona, but wouldn't really work so well in Pokemon, is the age ranges. Because kids are going to want to hear the audio in the language they're reading it at. They're reading it in. Whereas adults, we understand that the games are Japanese games being translated into English. So we're a lot more used to hearing a different language than what we're reading. Question, in my opinion, do I know how to grow a channel that small? Just keep uploading. See what exactly is working for you. Keep an eye out for, you know, what videos and streams you're doing that are getting more views. Try to do that more often. But ultimately, you just want to do what makes you happy, because people are going to be more likely to watch you if you're enjoying making the content that you're making. If you're making content just for the views, that's going to reflect in the quality of your content. I also feel like another feature is how we went out of order in Scarlet Violet, but add that and make the games, well, scale up. Yes. Yes, 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 Thad. Absolutely that. If you're going to make it be so that you can do it in any order, level scaling needs to be a thing. That was a mistake they made with Scarlet and Violet. I'm okay with the linear storytelling, because Pokemon is telling you a story. But as far as like gym badges go, if they're gonna let you do it in any order, it should absolutely level scale. I am completely on board with that. I don't think we're gonna get that with remakes, because remakes are going to want to tell the same kind of story and have the same story progression as the original game. I don't know how well that would work with a Legends game, considering the fact that you basically, unlock a different area as the story progresses. But that also had game also had the areas locked if you weren't able to, if you weren't a high enough level for that. You didn't like it? I'm not gonna lie, yeah. But seriously, fought Larry third and barely lost because it broke through paralysis. Oh, it's Staraptor. Oh, his Staraptor broke through paralysis. Oof. Are we out of eggs? We are out of eggs. Okay. We should be almost through the pre-made eggs. Once we're done with this box, we will definitely be done with the non-Gothita eggs. Alright, let's actually go ahead and get centered back over here because I don't want to fall off the cliff. Yes, 24 times in a row. Hello, DG. Welcome. Thanks for lurking. Also, water break. But yeah, the way that Legends Arceus worked, I don't think we would get level scaling due to the fact that the areas are locked off until you get to a certain point in the game. But I would honestly love to see it be something like you have 3 gyms that you can access, and then those gyms will level scale depending on what order you do them in. And then once you've beaten all 3 gyms, you can get access to maybe another 2 gyms. And then you beat those 2 gyms, you get another 2 gyms, and then you get one final gym that you can't access until all 7 gyms are defeated. That would be another really cool thing. Because, like, you could kind of do that in the Kanto games. Because as long as you defeated Misty, you could get pretty much anywhere else you wanted to, aside from Cinnabar Island. But you could still go straight from Misty and go battle Koga, get the badge, get the ability to surf, go battle Blaine, and then go back and fight Erica, and then battle Surge. The game didn't level scale, but that was something that you absolutely could do. You didn't need Flash to get through a rock tunnel. It was helpful, but you didn't need it. I suppose you could do some. Well, I guess the Johto games also kind of had that too. Because, as long as you beat Morty, you can go and get the next 3 badges in any order you want. You don't have to battle Jasmine next. You could go straight over to Price and battle him next. And then afterwards, you can go and battle Chuck, and then go battle Jasmine. So we'll see how they do that. If we do end up getting a Johto reimagining, where we still go through the traditional Johto storyline, but with bit changes. Level scaling in Johto is bad. Well, again, if they did actual level scaling, where the gym has their Pokemon set to certain levels based on your level, they could do that. And that's actually how I would do level scaling. Going with the example I gave before, you have 3 gyms you can tackle first, and then you get 2, then another 2, and then the last one. You can make it so that if you did it like that, then the first 3 gyms could have 3 different sets of teams. One team would be for if it's your first gym, another team would be for if it's your second gym, and then another team for if it's your third gym. And then they could still have them have those set levels, but you could take them on in whatever order you want to. And then once you beat those 2 gyms, then you go to the next, or once you beat those 3 gyms, you can go to the next 2 gyms, which would each have their own 2 different sets of teams, based on what order you fight them in. And then so on and so forth. Chuck, Jasmine, and Price are the problem in Johto. Yeah, and I think part of that was that they knew that you'd be able to take them on in any order. Because you can't take on Jasmine until you go to Cianwood City and get the medicine. But you very easily could go to Cianwood, get the medicine, not know that there's a gym there for you to fight, and then immediately go back and give her the medicine and then fight Jasmine. And then go fight Price, and then find out, oh, I have to go back to Cianwood and fight Chuck. So I think that might be why they did it that way. Kind of want Johto remakes now, not gonna lie. Oh yeah, I would love a Johto remake or reimagining. Another water break. Alright, I think we're finally back to the Gothita eggs. I wanted to hunt Gothita as an egg because I don't know where you can find it, and even if I did, it's so hard to tell. Forgot if I answered, but want to hear your ID for Chloe? Sure, go ahead. It's a bit off topic, but go ahead. Alright. So, as far as Unova games, we've mostly been talking about Johto tonight. But I do want to talk about the possibility of the kind of Unova games we might be getting. There are honestly 4 different games that I've seen people talking about that we might be getting for Unova. And those are, yeah, 2 of them I think are less likely. But the possible options that people are talking about are the traditional black and white remakes, which may or may not be developed by Ilka. Another possibility I've seen people talking about are, instead of remaking black and white, instead make a sequel to black and white, so make it Black and White 3. And I'm honestly not sure how I feel about that, because like, it's been so long since Black and White and Black and White 2 that if they make it a sequel, new players who didn't play the originals aren't gonna know exactly what's going on. It's like, well, wait a minute, who's this N guy? Who's Team Plasma? What's all this about? They wouldn't know what was going on. So I don't think they're going to just start off by making Black and White 3. Keep Ilko away from the remakes. I mean, that's a whole other topic. Yeah, I don't think we're getting Black and White 3. The third option that I've seen people talking about, which is possible, but I feel like it's less likely than the Johto version, would be Legends Unova. And it is certainly possible that if we were to get Unova remakes, they might pair that with a Legends Unova game. Because it would be great to be able to go back and see what the original dragon was like. There's a bunch of other lore that they could really expand on. You just told your mom to wake you up early so you can see the stream. Oh yeah, I'm planning on going live around 8:50 a.m. because it's gonna go up at 9 a.m. Give us some lore about the original dragon, Burnt Tower, and some other things. Yes. I mean, but Burnt Tower is Johto, but yes. That is one of the reasons why a lot of people are thinking Legends Unova. But I do think it would be more likely for us to get Legends Johto than Legends Unova. Just because this is the 25th anniversary of the Johto games. So, like, we're getting Johto games this year. I am 95% certain that we are getting Johto games this year. But I won't deny that a Legends Unova game would be really cool, too. The original dragon, you're guessing, is dragon type? They wouldn't make it a dual type with it being the same type. That's actually really redundant. Let's start at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time? No, it's 9. Should be 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll double check that, but... Let's see here. Pokemon Day 2024. Eastern Standard Time. Yep, you can catch the February edition of Pokemon Presents 2024 on February 27th at 6 a.m. PST, 9 a.m. EST, and 2 p.m. GMT. So yeah, Eastern Standard Time, it'll be up at 9 a.m. So I'm planning on going live around 8:50 a.m. And I'll probably schedule it tonight. I just need to finish putting together the thumbnail for it. I mean, I would say that as more of a meme or anything, but... Like, if we do get Legends Unova announced and they show us a hint towards the original dragon, then I could see that being in M&J TV's Pokemon meme review, where somebody posts the original dragon and it's dragon type, but I don't think they would actually do that. What time is it for Central Time? I believe Central Time is 1 hour 1 hour behind Eastern Standard Time. So if it's 9 a.m. for me, it would be 8 a.m. Central Time. Oh wait, no, that's oh no, that's Pacific Time, I think, actually. Central Time, I think, was 3 hours different. It is currently 8 o'clock right now. So whatever time it is for you right now, add an hour to that. And that's what time it's going to go live. Oh yeah, I don't watch too many of those videos, but yeah, I do know, I have seen his videos, his meme review videos. And I will have the VOD up as well afterwards if you do end up missing it. What's the water break?
Water break.
You see things, you see it, yeah. Yeah, and if you're not able to make it because it's just too early for you, I do understand. Again, the VOD will be up afterwards, so... I think that's all the eggs? Oh, you are right. Thank you, Thad. Go ahead and swap those eggs out. Move on to another box. I have a lot of eggs, too. So, we're able to keep at this for a while. Not sure how long we're gonna go for. But I do want to avoid going too late. Because, you know, Matsu needs her sleep. Yeah, I still need to check out his Mill Tank video. Hope you like your... hope I like your idea for juries that you had. Oh, alright, let me scroll up and see that. So Chloe gets Eevee extremely early, and the Eevee is special because in this version, the evolution scientists are evil and did things to Eevee, making her able to use the Let's Go moves? I mean, it sounds like an interesting fanfic, at least. Yeah, people would gear up to tell everyone about it. You might try to see it on your phone if you're able, yet again with school. Yeah, and like I said, the VOD will be up afterwards. And I have already set things up for it as well. I've got volume turned down. Hello, Wario. Welcome. Excited for Pokemon Day? Yes, we are too. But I've got the volume turned down so that you don't have to worry about copyright. I will be turning captions on as soon as I can. But Nintendo has made an announcement saying that while they are perfectly fine with people streaming it and doing reactions, as long as you're actually, you know, reacting and not just re-uploading it, they did give out a fair warning that there is going to be copyright music. So I will be having the volume turned down. I am going to be playing music as well. I'll probably just turn on, like, just find some Johto music to play in the background on loop. That way, it'll help to drown out the music so that I don't get copyright claimed. Basically, they tried to make the best Evolution Fusion and used a G-Max wielding Eevee to do that. Go also doesn't evolve Scorbunny for a lot longer. Eh? Just wanted to know the highlights. You said I had a point checklist. What other points do I have? Oh yeah. Should talk about the fourth and final theory that people have as far as potential Unova games that we could be getting, which I think are very extremely unlikely. Hello, Shimmy, welcome. And that would be black, gold, and white, silver. Somebody made some really cool logos, and they looked really good, but... and there are people now saying, oh, well, we could actually be getting those games. Basically, it's an idea that somebody had combining both Unova and Johto into one game. And I honestly do think that is the least likely option of the four. I could see them doing Black and White 3 before they do Black, Gold, and White, Silver. I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, that would absolutely have to be a full spin-off and not a remake. Because they're not going to put two full regions in the same game, complete with their own evil teams and everything. They're just not going to do that. But there are people that have been spreading that around saying, oh yeah, I actually think we're going to be getting this. Like, no, I don't think that's going to happen. But yeah, I do think that if we do get one Johto and one Unova game this year, that we'll probably get the Johto games first and then Unova games second. Although I do think it's most likely that we're going to get announcements for Johto games this year and then Unova games in January. That it won't technically be in 2024, but rather 2025. Because that way we can get Johto games for the Johto anniversary, Unova games for the Unova anniversary, and then Generation 10 can come out in 2025, which would be exactly 3 years after Generation 9, the Scarlet and Violet games. Yeah, I do think that's the most likely scenario. But with the leaks that we've gotten, considering the fact that we might be getting 2 games in 2024, if we do get 2 games in 2024, then I think it's more likely that we'll get 2 Johto games, as in a Johto reimagining, and then a Legends Johto game. Now, it's still possible that we could get a Johto game and a Unova game this year, but I think it makes more sense for us to get a Unova game next year for the 15th anniversary of Black and White. But I could also see why they would want to release Unova games before releasing Generation 10. Makes you wonder what they're going to name the Generation 10 games. Well, they might just go with more colors. But there was a theory that it could be actually related to the fact that the DLC in Scarlet and Violet are teal and indigo. Now, that would be a bit odd to have 2 warm colors. But it's still a possibility that we could be getting Pokemon Teal and Indigo for Gen 10. Or even something similar to that. It's like if you go back and look at Generation 1, the very first set of Pokemon games, they were red and green. And then blue came out afterwards. But the actual pair for red version was green version. The only reason why we got red and blue in America is because the red version that we got was based on blue version. Because blue version was the upgraded version of red and green. With new sprites, bug fixes, and the like. But we still ended up getting the missing no glitch. As far as spin-off goes, we already did talk about Colosseum and Gale of Darkness. I do think that if we were going to get those games, that they would be remakes. But I can't see us getting both games at once. If they were going to remake the games, I do feel like they would aim for Colosseum and then see how well Colosseum does before giving us a remake of Gale of Darkness. But I can't see us getting ports of those games unless they add a GameCube emulator to the Switch. Which, haven't seen anything of it. Right now, the emulators we have for the Switch are Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, SNES, and the N64. If we do get a port of Game Boy, or not Game Boy, of GameCube games, I do think it would be on the next Nintendo system instead of on the Switch. But speaking of ports, I do have one other thing that I don't know if we're going to get it. I haven't heard any leaks or rumors about us getting it, but I do know that it's something a lot of people want, and have been wanting for a long time, and it's something that I want too. And that would be ports of the Generation 1, 2, and 3 games. We already have the spin-off games. We already have Pokemon TCG. I don't think we have Pinball, but we have yet to receive ports of Red, Blue, Yellow, Gold and Silver, or Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald. And I do think that this would be the best time for us to get those, considering the fact that the Switch is near the end of its lifespan. Although, my absolute dream for those games would be that they make them compatible with Pokemon Stadium 1 and 2. Because as it stands right now, Pokemon Stadium 1 and 2, you cannot play with other games. You cannot import Pokemon, which I do wish that they had at least given it home compatibility, so that you could bring in Pokemon from Generations 1 and 2, and just put them in with the Professor. Because the Professor will hold on to your Pokemon. Like, the original games had storage systems, and you could store Pokemon in the storage system with Professor Oak or Professor Elm in Stadium 2, and then you could reset your game and still have access to those Pokemon. But I would want that less for the storage system and more for the fact that there were special features in the minigames that are currently locked because you cannot play the original Game Boy games in conjunction with the with Stadium 1 and 2. We're off-centered again. Because there were two different features in Stadium 1 and 2 that you could utilize if you had a transfer pack and a copy of one of the games. Not only could you store Pokemon with Professor Oak, but there was also the Game Boy Tower, where you could play the games on your screen. That was the first time we could play main series Pokemon games on our TVs. That was the closest we had at the time to a main series console Pokemon game. I did not press that button. Why am I in there? There we go. We did a Pokemon Pinballs just for the Game Boy? Okay. But aside from Game Boy Tower, there was also the minigames. And if you did the minigames, and had that Pokemon in your PC, then you could actually play the minigames with those Pokemon. And if they were shiny, that would also reflect in the minigames. And you could even have special Pokemon that weren't normally playable in those minigames. So, for example, in Stadium 2, there was a minigame where you play as a ferret, and you try to get these Pokeball-shaped beach balls into your goal, and the person who gets the most beach balls into the goal wins. And different style beach balls are worth different points. Well, if you had a Girafarig, you could actually play that game as a Girafarig instead of a ferret. But you had to have the transfer pack, you had to have a compatible game in the transfer pack, and you had to have that Pokemon either in your party or in your PC box. But as it stands right now, you cannot play that Furret game as a Girafarig. You can only play as a Furret. Remember that minigame? Oh yeah, it was fun. Like, another one that I can recall was that you could do that with the Chansey minigame if you had a Blissey. And it was just so much fun playing those minigames with the Pokemon that you took on your journey. So it wasn't the minigames as much as it wasn't that you were playing the minigames with Pokemon, you were playing the minigames with your Pokemon. And that's what made them so special. And then you could also do the Gym Leader Tower with your own Pokemon and build up your own team to go in there, instead of just using the rental Pokemon like you have now. Now, whether or not they would do that, make them compatible with the ports if we do get ports, that is up in the air. But that is something I would absolutely love to see. If they bring those games to the Switch, I would want them to make them compatible with Pokemon Stadium 1 and 2. And they could even give you the option, too. It's like, yeah, you can play them on your own through the Game Boy player, or you could go into Stadium and play it through Game Boy Tower there. And it would probably be difficult for them to transfer the save files between them. So they could just do it so that you have a save file on the Stadium. So if you play Game Boy Tower, then that's your save file in Stadium. That would still be really cool if they did that. Also, water break. And I think we're out of eggs. Yep. Alright. And I think that was everything I had. Yeah, that's all the talking points that I had. But guys, let me know what you guys think, or if you have any ideas that could be a bit different than mine, or even just something that you would really like to see. Oh wait, actually no, there was one other talking point that I had. I should take that back. There was a leak, I think last year, that somebody, and this is a confirmed leak, because this is a trademark leak. Somebody had discovered that Pokemon had created a new trademark with Mystery Dungeon. So there is actually a high possibility that we could be getting a new Mystery Dungeon game this year. What kind of game that would be and what Pokemon would be in it, I have no idea. Because when they remade Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Rescue Adventure, they made it so that it was only up to those 3 generations that were in that initial game. But they did add Mega Evolutions, so that was pretty cool. But a modern-day Mystery Dungeon game, it's questionable if we would get all the Pokemon or not. You never played them before? Are they fun? Oh, they are so much fun. Especially if you like Pokemon, but want to try something a little bit different. And, like, the fandom pretty much unanimously agrees that it was the Generation 4 Mystery Dungeon games that were the best. Which, I do really like those games. I'd say, for me, it's a tie between between Explorers and Super. There are 4 different Mystery Dungeon games, not counting different versions of the same game. There's Pokemon there's Pokemon Rescue, which was Pokemon Rescue Red for the Game Boy Advance, and then Pokemon Rescue Blue was for the DS. And then we got Pokemon Explorers, Pokemon Explorers of Time, and Pokemon Explorers of Darkness, which were essentially the same game. But those were the Generation 4 ones. And then you had Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Gates of Infinity, which was for the 3DS, which made use of the 3DS's terrible motion controls. And then you got Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon, which was also for the 3DS, but it didn't take advantage of the 3D function. It's like it used less of the functions, but I honestly think that was better because that meant that they were focusing more on the story than using the 3DS's features. And then Pokemon Rescue Red and Blue were remade a few years back for the Nintendo Switch. So if you have a Nintendo Switch and want to check out Mystery Dungeon, I highly recommend checking out Pokemon Mystery Dungeon DX. It was very fun. But not counting the remake of Rescue, we had 4 different versions of Mystery Dungeon, 4 different generations, and they coincided with the generational games as well. So, like, the Rescue games were Gen 3, Explorers was Gen 4, Gates of Infinity was Gen 5, and then Super was Gen 6. And Generation 6 was the last generation to have its own Mystery Dungeon game. But each Mystery Dungeon game normally has every Pokemon that is out up until that point. So it's questionable it's questionable how many Pokemon they would add in Mystery Dungeon if we do get a brand new Mystery Dungeon game. But there's also a possibility that it could also be a remake of the Explorers games, which I would honestly be okay with as well. As much as I would love a brand new Mystery Dungeon game. Oh yeah, Explorers of Sky as well, yeah. Explorers of Sky was basically Time and Darkness rolled into one. Similar to how Pokemon Blue version was Pokemon Red and Green rolled into one. Or Emerald was a combination of Ruby and Sapphire. Crystal was a combination of Gold and Silver. So on and so forth. Though they don't really do that anymore. Sinnoh was the last region that we got a third game like that. Which is a shame, because there was evidence towards us getting a Pokemon Z version, but we never got that, unfortunately. But yeah, I would be fine with either a brand new Mystery Dungeon game or a remake of Explorers. Because honestly, those games were so much fun. They had a great storyline. And if you've ever seen me play through Pokemon with an all-fairy team, That is where my nickname for Wigglytuff comes from. I always nickname my Wigglytuff either Mavis or Makarov, after the guildmaster from Fairy Tail. In the anime Fairy Tail, there is a guild of wizards called Fairy Tail, and the current guildmaster is a man named Makarov, but the founding guildmaster was a girl named Mavis. And the reason why I nicknamed my Wigglytuff after those two characters is because of Mystery Dungeon Explorers. Because in those games, you are part of an Explorer Society. I think we're out of eggs. Yeah, we are. And the Guildmaster is a Wigglytuff. And Wigglytuff, as of Generation 6, is a fairy type. So that's why I always nickname my Wigglytuff after Guildmaster, Mavis, or Makarov, is because of those games. There's even a bonus epilogue that you can play after you beat the main story, which basically tells the story of Guildmaster Wigglytuff back when he was still an Igglybuff. And it is confirmed that he is male, too. They don't use a lot of gendered pronouns in Mystery Dungeon, but they do confirm that Guildmaster Wigglytuff is male. And he is scary tough. Yeah, it's all about how he first became an explorer and decided that he loved exploring. And also how he first met Chatot as well. And Chatot is basically Wigglytuff's right-hand Pokemon. Also, Wigglytuff is a glutton. He loves his perfect apples. And I think that's the only game where we had perfect apples as well. Though they can only be perfect inside of the dungeons. So basically they're perfectly fresh. But I have to say, though, if we did get a Mystery Dungeon game, I would definitely want some newer Pokemon as well. I would absolutely love it if we could play with all of the modern-day starters. From Kanto to Paldea. Especially since you guys know, for certain, without a doubt, that I would absolutely pick Sprigatito to play. In fact, I would probably play the game with Sprigatito and Litten. I would be Sprigatito, Litten would be my partner. 100%. You guys already know. So that is one thing that I do miss about the older Mystery Dungeon games, is that they allowed you to play with more than just the starters. Off topic, but Oshawott Build-A-Bear win? Yes, kitty team. It's like, even if it was a remake, I would still hope that they would at least add the starters from other games past Generation 4. Just for the sake of having all the starters in there, because, like, yes, give me the starters. Let me play as Sprigatito! At least Oshawott has more of a chance of getting a Build-A-Bear than Raichu does. And yes, I am salty about it. I think that's sadly true. Yeah. Sadly, Game Freak hates my favorite Pokemon. Alright, well... I'm out of stuff to talk about. I don't know about you guys. What were you gonna say, Dan?
I said, what should I say?
I mean, give your thoughts and opinions.
Oh, you were complaining about Game Freak hating your favorite Pokemon. And I said, what should I say?
Yeah, because at least my favorite Pokemon is guaranteed to be in every game.
Absol, on the other hand, is always a gamble.
Yep. For your sake, I hope it is in the next game, because it has been a while since we've seen it.
You see.
Alright, so... let's see here. Looks like there's actually quite a few people live right now. I do see Chev is live, but he is playing Final Fantasy and not Pokemon. So let me ask, chat, would you guys rather we raid a Pokemon stream? Oh wait, oh, yeah, Thad, absolutely. Go ahead, tell me your prediction. You think they'll announce, or briefly announce Horizons on Netflix and mobile stuff? I thought Horizons was already on Netflix. How long is the Pokemon Day, is the Pokemon Presents? Usually it's like half an hour. It's like 20 to 30 minutes, I would expect. But I will say that we will be going live a second time tomorrow as well. It's not just going to be the main live stream, but at 3 o'clock, I am going to be doing a bonus live stream with, which will be a collab with Ironixie and Chev Studios. And we're basically going to be discussing, whatever stuff is announced. So we're going to be talking about what was announced, our thoughts on everything, and just, you know, what we've seen other people talking about as well. And it's going to be starting at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I hope you guys look forward to that. Alright, let me find Chev's stream. So it was right there, and then I lost it. Oh wait, Chev is actually not live yet. He won't be live for another few minutes. Well, he'll be live in a couple minutes, so that still works. That's the main thing they announced stuff, yeah? Yes. It's mainly going to be announcements. So they're going to be announcing new games. They're going to be announcing updates to existing games. And the new game announcements, those are going to be towards the end of the stream. So they're going to be announcing like updates to Master ZX and all that other stuff first. So game announcements will be at the end. Alright. Let's go ahead and set up the redirect. And save. Sorry, that's a bad question. Oh, no worries. It's not a bad question at all. You are fine. But yeah, we'll probably give it a little bit before we go and raid Chev. Just because he does usually start with prayer, and I'm sure he would rather be through that first before we start raiding him. Alright, and looks like we got a lot more votes in the poll, so we can go through that really quick. So, poll results are Let's Go Johto is at the very, very bottom at 0%. No votes for that, which is understandable. Third place is Unova Remakes. I'm honestly surprised that didn't go higher. Second place is Legends Unova. At 25% of the votes. Oh yeah, Unova Remakes was 12%. So first place in the poll is Legends Johto at a whopping 62%. So 62% of you guys think that we're getting, or at least want, a Legends Johto game. Alright. Let me just check on him and see if he is live yet.
Wait, then we would do...
Oh, okay. Looks like he is live. Looks like he's starting his prayer, so... Hi, Monkey Butt. What's up, Monkey Butt? Alright, let's go ahead and head on over that. Legends Johto would slay, though? Oh, absolutely. That is my biggest hope, is that we get Johto reimaginings and Legends Johto this year. And then Unova games next year, along with Gen 10. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and add the link.
And still take a water break.
Water break. Okay, and there's the hashtag. Alright. Just check these last couple eggs to see if they're shiny. And if not, then we can head over to Chev's channel and give him a little rave. Or raid. We gonna rave over there? We're gonna raid him. Alright. That is it for the eggs. Looks like we are done. Party rave. Woo! Alright, let's go rave in Chet's stream. I will see you guys over there. Thank you guys for joining us today. And as always, I hope you all have a very